Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra Unit 8 Review. Remember to show all your work. Okay, first part says to graph each quadratic equation and identify the specified parts. So let's go ahead and get a close look at number 1. Y equals negative x squared minus 2x minus 3. So before we start graphing this, the first thing we have to do is we have to find the vertex. Okay, and the formula for the vertex, in case you don't know, it is x equals the opposite of b over 2a. So let's go ahead and do this. So x equals the opposite of b would be 2 over 2, and a is negative 1. Remember, this is a, this is b, and that's c. Okay, so the top ends up being 2, and 2 times negative 2 is negative 2. When we reduce that, we get negative 1. So now I know that my vertex, negative 1, and then I go 2 numbers above and 2 numbers below. And now we need to plug all those numbers in, okay? So what you're doing in your calculators, let's actually make that look like a squared, minus 2, and you're plugging those in, okay? You guys should be able to do that by your own. I'll just set it up so you guys know what it looks like, okay? There's the negative sign first, and then you need to plug in, say, negative 3 squared minus 2 times negative 3 minus 3. Okay, and we get negative 6. So I know that that's negative 6. Why don't you guys pause the video and fill the rest of that out? Okay, and those should have been the points that you got. And let's go ahead and graph. So we have our first point of negative 3, negative 6. We have negative 2, negative 3, negative 1, 0, and there we go. Okay. Remember to make this curved as possible. And to draw in your axis of symmetry. Your axis of symmetry is the line that goes in between, right through your vertex. Okay, now let's answer those questions. So our vertex, remember the vertex is the middle point. So negative 1, 0. Let's make that look like a 0. Axis of symmetry is that equation of the line that we just drew. That's the x equals negative 1. Our y-intercept is where it touches the y-axis. So that's at 0, negative 3. And then the x-intercepts is where it crosses the x-axis or touches the x-axis. And this one there's only one, and that is at the point negative 1, 0. Okay. All right, let's look at number 2. Number 2 is in vertex form. You might be like, yo, Mr. Grice, this looks weird. Yeah, it looks a little bit different, but this is nicer to find your vertex. Because all we do is we take the opposite of what's inside, and that number stays the same. So right away, I know that our vertex, is 2, negative 3. All right, and then we do the same thing where we go 2 numbers above and 2 numbers below. Okay, so what I'm going to have you guys do now is you're going to plug in and you're going to tell me and graph the rest of this equation. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and good luck. Okay, and there's your graph. You can see this, I'm kind of drawing in my axis of symmetry right now. Now, if you didn't get that in your for the table, you gotta double check your numbers, guys. Gotta double check what you're putting into the calculator. All right, so our vertex, we knew that right away. Our vertex was 2, -3. Axis of symmetry was what we just drew. It goes straight through the x point of the equation. Our y-intercept is where it touches the y-axis, and that is at the point 0, 9. And then the solutions, this is different now, the solutions is where it crosses the x-axis, and it crosses the x-axis at +1 and +3. All right. Now, it says to solve the following quadratic equations using an appropriate method from the list. So we can go by factoring, inverse operations, completing the square, or the quadratic formula. And as a reminder, the quadratic formula, you can use that on anyone. But the first thing we always do, always, is we set the equation equal to 0, okay? We have to figure that out. So to do that, we're going to look at our two quadratic terms, and I'm going to move the smaller one. So I'm going to subtract the 8x squared to both sides, which means I also have to move the 21. And then everything on the right cancels, and we're left with x squared minus 4x minus 21 equals 0. So what I would do now is check. Which one can I do? Well, I can always do the quadratic formula. So if I wanted to, I'd be like, all right, well, a equals 1, b equals -4, c equals -21. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, I like to check to see if we can factor, especially because my leading coefficient is 1. It means I can do that shortcut. Okay, so I'm going to multiply, and I get 21. Factors of 21 are 1 and 21, 3 and 7. So out of those, do I have a pair that add up to -21 or multiply to -21 and add to -4? And I do. It's 3 and -7. Since my leading coefficient's 1, I can go straight into my shortcut of x plus 3, x minus 7 equaling 0. And we need to set each one of those equal to 0. And that's where we get our final answer of x equals -3 and +7. All right, number 4. So number 4, right away I see the parentheses, and anytime I see the parentheses, we should solve by SADMAP. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is cancel addition or subtraction. We have addition, so I'm going to cancel that with subtraction. Then we have 5x minus 4 squared equaling 0. The next thing we have to do is cancel the multiplication. That's the 5, so I'm going to divide both sides by 5. Those cancel, and I'm left with x minus 4 squared, and 0 divided by 5 is 0. Okay, the next thing would be to get rid of the square, and to get rid of a square, so we take the square root. The square root of 0 is 0. And now the last step would just be to subtract by 4. So we get that x equals +4. The end. That wasn't too bad, was it? Nah, I don't think so either. All right, number 5. Now, we can try to factor. We can do Inverses. Oh, no, we can't do inverses because there's a linear term. Completing the square. No, we can't do that either. So this is one where we have to do the quadratic. So a equals 3, b equals negative 13, and c equals 14. Okay? Now, remember, you will get extra credit if you memorize this formula. All right, so here we go. X equals negative 13. What's the opposite of negative 13? Positive 13. Okay, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Now, the first thing we do in that equation is the discriminant, the part that's underneath the square root. Okay, so underneath the square root, we have negative 13 squared minus 4 times 3 times 14, and we get 1. And underneath, 2 times 3 is 6. Well, the square root of 1 is 1. So we have 13 plus or minus 1 divided by 6. And that's where we break it off into the 2, where it's 13 minus 1 divided by 6 and 13 plus 1 divided by 6. Okay? And then once you're done, you should get your two answers of x equals 2. And the other one is 13 plus 1 is 14. 14 divided by 6, 2.3. Guys, the other way to say 2.3, I think if you reduce that fraction, it would have been 7 over 6. Okay? All right, 5. That looks like a lot of work. Everything's already set to 0, so that's awesome. I'm just going to do the quadratic formula. A equals 5, b equals 6, c equals 10. So x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. All right? So we have x equals plus or minus. I know right away 2 times 5 is 10. And now we have to do the discriminant. That's the part that's underneath the square root. All right, so we have 6 squared minus 4 times 5 times 10. And what do you guys get? Okay, when I got it, I got negative 164. And you guys should get the same thing, negative 164. And can you take the square root of a negative number? Nope. So our answer here is no real solution. Okay. So that's the front side. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video right now. And video number 2 will be all over the backside. Okay? If you have any questions, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra 1, Unit 8, Review, Video 1. Thanks for watching.